when you're picking a lot for your project, there's some things that you should be thinking about up front. I'm going to share with you in this video to help inform you and just guide you in your choosing process. So you want to know which town you're building in, obviously, but I say that because two towns can be very close together and have a very different market. One will have a better typical return on houses, on properties, hold their value better, and you want to be in a town, if it's something that you plan on reselling or a spec, that will support holding the value, gaining value, and somewhere that typically sells well. So like in our area, you can go 6-7 miles down the road and it's a very, very different market. Houses sell much, much higher, much better in our town than they do in that town. So we might be able to get land cheaper there, but we'd rather be here because it will sell better here and hold its value better here, or increase its value better here. So choose your town wisely. You want to know, if you're not building in town, if there's proximity issues for deliveries, is it way out, then that's going to impact your bottom line. So considering proximity to suppliers and construction materials, crews, all of that, and how that will affect you and your budget. You want to know the town that you're building in, the jurisdictions, requirements, what building code they've adopted, what requirements will require you, building permits. You want to know what year code they've adopted, because it's not the same in every town, and what requirements may be in that town, not in maybe if you've done a house in a different town, maybe it's not the same. So you want to just look and make sure you know what you're looking for. You want to know, if you're going to build in a community, in a development, what the HOA standards are and what their design criteria and their square footage criteria, and is that going to be a hindrance to how you want to build your house, use your property, or express your creativity. So you want to know about utilities. If there's utilities to the site, or if they're nearby and you got to get them to the site, that's a pretty significant difference. What utilities are to the site? There should be water, sewer, gas, electric, and communication. Sometimes there's a variation of those and not all of them. Typically in a development you'll have all of them, but if it's a development with, say 2-acre lots, you could be a couple hundred feet from the hookup, versus, under an acre lots, you're typically, maybe you're less than 100 feet to the hookup, and that could affect your budget and your bottom line. So you want to know what utilities are there and how close they are to your actual build site from where you can hook into them. If there's no water and no sewer, then you're going to be on a well or a well share, and you're going to need a septic design. So that's all going to impact your budget. Development lots are typically a little bit more expensive because it's more developed, and a little cheaper when those things aren't available, but then you pay that cost into developing that infrastructure yourself. So you want to be aware of which of those you're looking at. It's usually easier to go into a development because it takes out a lot of the unknowns and uncertainties, and you pay a little bit more of a premium for that, but it could save you in the long run. You want to, when you're checking on utilities, just because there's water doesn't mean that there's sewer. I've actually seen where there's city water to a site, but there's no sewer. It still needs septic. So you don't want to just assume anything. You want to be specific about it. You want to know your geological, environmental considerations. So what type of soil, what type of ground is it? What is it known for? If it's expansive clay or sand or gypsum or rock, or maybe just good digging. If there's gypsum, for instance, you're going to end up over excavating to get rid of that gypsum, filling it back in with hard fill. It's going to impact your excavation budget. If you hit rock, that's going to impact your excavation budget. If you have expansive soils or sands, then that's going to impact your perk rates on your septic design. And those are all things that you want to be aware of, considering, and how they will affect you and your budget, your bottom line, and your plan. You want to know that you're not in a floodplain or a wetland, or there's no protected vegetation or wildlife or anything like that. Typically a development protects you from all of those things, but not always. And if you're outside of development in a county area, you want to be clear that you can build on the site that you want to build on in the way that you want to. So look for floodplains and wetlands and whatever environmental constraints there may be. You want to know about your property characteristics. So, obviously how many square feet is the lot, or how many square acres is the lot. If it's under an acre, like a point something, it's often best to convert that into square footage, which you can do by taking, 0.50, for instance, times 43,560, and it will give you the square footage of that lot. So then you want to know the setbacks to the lot. Typically there's a front setback, a back setback, and two sides. You can then take your lot lengths and widths times and figure out the square footage of that setback area. Also making sure that there's no easements or right-of-ways that will invade into that or hinder you building on that lot. So then once you get the square footage of those setbacks and the square footage of your lot, you can figure out the buildable square footage of the lot. And if you know about what size house you need, say a 2,000 square foot house, 1,000 square foot garage, and however many square foot of porch and patio, then you can be sure that the lot has this buildable square footage to support the house that you are trying to build. You want to know about the topographic features of your lot, whether it's on a hillside, a slope, or sometimes those are constraints, sometimes those are opportunities for things like walkouts or views, or get creative with it. So where that really matters is, when you have elevation changes and those kind of constraints, is like getting concrete to the footings, or all the way to when you're trying to get sheetrock to the second story and they can't boom the sheetrock to the second story. Somebody's going to carry it up the stairs, and that is going to cost you. So knowing the topographic features, if I didn't mention already, like if they get to and do a bunch of retaining walls, or how you're able to support the need of that job, could affect your bottom line, your budget, and it's something you need to be considering. You want to know about the orientation and the climate when it comes to the lot. Is it north facing, south facing, east, west? A house that's facing north isn't going to get any sun in the summer or in the winter months, and typically a house that's facing east and west will get sun on the front and back at some point throughout the day. Maybe you don't want the back of your house facing west, where the blazing sun is on your back porch and you can't enjoy it in the afternoon in the summers. You want to consider those things. You want to consider the direction of the weather and which way the weather pattern typically moves, so that you're not getting massive snow in your front door, or the side of the house that you intended to put the most windows isn't the side that gets hailed out every year. So you want to know about the weather patterns, sun, the orientation of your house on your lot. You want to know you want to know that there's no boundary disputes or title issues. Typically there is a title company involved that will protect you in that. They'll do a search on the title and make sure you're good, but making sure that there's no zoning issues or conflicts or anything like that. You want to consider, if you're outside of a development, how much clearing of the lot it may take before site prep can even begin. Whereas if you're in a development, typically that's not an issue, but that's something you want to be aware of. You want to be aware of access to it, which I kind of already mentioned, but is there road work that needs to be done, or driveway work that needs to be done to be able to support the equipment and the trucks that need to come in and out to keep your job supplied throughout the process. And is there any drainage issues? Are you landlocked? Will there be issues managing the snow? Just put some thought into it. There's definitely some things that you want to know ahead of time. Hopefully I hit most of them in this video, but if you consider these things before you buy the lot, do a little research, talk to a builder with a good pre-construction planning process. It will save you headaches and help you to stay to your budget in the process. So I'm Robert with Heirloom Custom Homes. I hope this helps you if you're going to get a lot and do a project and save you some headaches and help you to stay on budget. But I'm Robert, Heirloom Custom Homes. Thanks for watching.